I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Vietnam Veterans News Podcast. News of interest about Vietnam veterans from a Vietnam veteran. Now here's your host, Mac Payne.
This is Mac Payne here with episode 1784 of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. News about the Vietnam War and the brave veterans who served there, as told to you by yours truly, a Vietnam veteran. In this episode, I'm going to share with you a story about another reason we were in Vietnam. Before I get into that story, I'd like to remind you, time is drawing nigh for the July 4th presentation of a legacy staff to one Vietnam veteran from each of the four major services that served in Vietnam: Army, Navy, Air Force, and the Marines. That's right. Tomorrow, I'm giving away one super legacy staff to a veteran from each of those services. Legacy staffs are special. They're made with first-class materials. They put your name on it and anything else you want on there, like your rank and branch of service, and you can put a medallion on there of your choice. They are special. All you have to do to become eligible to receive one of these legacy staffs is just tell me. Send me an email message at macpayne.com. That is MACKPAYNE @gmail.com. Tell me your name, rank, branch of service, when you were in Vietnam, and what you did over there. That's all there is to it. Tomorrow, on July the 4th, we will be picking four winners. I encourage you to do this because I have a legacy staff, and I'll guarantee you it is special. It's got my name on it, an American flag emblem, and several other things. I enjoy just having it sit here next to my desk as I speak to you. It gives me comfort. It'll do the same thing for you. All you've got to do is send me an email, macpayne@gmail.com. Tell me your name, branch of service, when you were there, throw in your rank and what you did, and your name will be in the hat. You just might win one. Enough said on that. Let's get on to the story I'm going to share with you about a reason we were fighting in Vietnam. Comes out of the great state of New Jersey, where there are a bunch of great Vietnam veterans. Specifically, the story comes out of Bordentown, which is located about 10 or 15 miles north of Philadelphia on the Delaware River. The story I'm sharing with you comes from the Courier Post. The title of it is Bordentown City Resident Named Burlington County Woman of the Year. This woman just happens to be Doan Tucker. She is a full-blooded Vietnamese. She escaped Vietnam in her mother's womb. That means her mother was pregnant with this woman as she was escaping from Vietnam during the tumultuous times right after the murderous North Vietnamese took over. That also means she survived the trip in a leaky fishing boat, fighting off killer pirates, and finally making it to this country. She got over here and she's done some great things. Another reason I'm sharing her story with you is because I had a very high regard for the Vietnamese people. They were strong, good, honest, hardworking people, and I believe all they wanted to do was have the opportunity to make a living, raise a few pigs, grow some rice, and have a bunch of children. I still, to this day, do not understand how those murderous communists up in North Vietnam were able to convince so many of them to come down to the South and get killed. For what? The bankrupt theory of communism? I feel for them. They were terribly misguided. But not Doan Tucker. Thank the good Lord above, her mother was not misguided. She got out of that place, and she produced a daughter who is a wonderful person who sets a high example for us all. In the story I'm going to share with you, she has some advice that I encourage you to listen to very carefully because it will pay big dividends for you. She married a preacher And that's where she's doing a lot of her good work. Without any further ado, let's take a look at the story about this wonderful lady who survived the rigors of escape from Vietnam. Title of the story is Bordentown City Resident Named Burlington County Woman of the Year. The story was provided by Jarrad Saffren, a writer for the paper. Dateline, Bordentown City. As the wife of Father Matt Tucker, the rector of the Christ Church Parish in the city, Doan Tucker has long been content to play the role of the strong woman behind the scenes. But now, after being named Burlington County Woman of the Year for her community service, Doan Tucker is the one receiving credit from the public. And it could not be more well-deserved, according to her husband, Matt Tucker. Dawn is better than me at identifying people who are underserved in our community, said Father Matt. She's the catalyst for a lot of what we do. The Episcopal Church's annual efforts included making Thanksgiving meals for those in need, collecting diaper bags, clothes and toys for newborns, and collecting new and used shoes for Souls for Souls, a global organization that distributes shoes to people who don't have them. That's a good idea. Doan Tucker organizes all these efforts and several others each year. Early in 2020, a couple of her friends and neighbors nominated her for the Burlington County Outstanding Woman of the Year award. The County Woman's Advisory Council, a group of about 20 county residents who advise the Burlington County Freeholder Board on women's issues, selected Tucker as the winner in March. In a June 15th virtual ceremony on Facebook Live, the board honored Tucker at the Outstanding Woman of Burlington County Awards reception. Here comes Tucker's advice. Listen carefully and heed it. Someone, maybe Harry Truman, said, "It is amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit." Dawn said that in her acceptance speech video. I try to stay behind the scenes and help others become leaders. Tucker has been embracing and living this role since marrying Father Matt and moving to Bordentown in 2010. She works part-time as a graphic designer and considers her community service through the church to be her life's work. Did you get that? Her community service work at the church is her life work. She barely escaped from Vietnam. Continuing, after a decade of efforts, the Christ Church has become a monthly, not just yearly, force for good in the city. Every month, Tucker organizes hot meals for the transient population living out of motels, a free laundry night at a city laundromat for people in need, and a collection and sorting effort with local teens at the Good Neighbor Food Pantry, which helps Bordentown and Fieldsboro residents. She plans on continuing these efforts for the rest of 2022, just while requiring volunteers to follow social distancing guidelines. The more you learn about Dawn, the more you recognized her dedication to the community and the selfless contributions that she goes above and beyond to make on a daily basis, said Gail Carson and Rebecca Collins, the city residents who nominated Tucker for the award in their letter to the Freeholder Board. Father Matt is proud of her service and contributions. I'll bet he is. Continuing. She identified it, and this is the direction she went, he said. Her natural empathy is a big part of it. With Doan Tucker still in her mother's womb, her family fled Vietnam near the end of the Vietnam War in the mid-1970s. For much of her childhood and early adulthood, Doan Tucker lived the life of a refugee, moving from California to Vancouver to Toronto to Northern Virginia, where she met Father Matt, then a student at a local seminary. When the couple moved to Bordentown City, Doan Tucker was looking for the home she never had. She found it by trying to help people in difficult situations, people she saw herself in. There's a huge need, and if I'm able to help fill some voids and move things along, that's why I do it, she said. I wake up and ask, what else can I do today? That's the story of Doan Tucker, a Vietnamese refugee who came to this country and who makes it obvious while we were fighting in Vietnam. The Vietnamese people were and are wonderful people. As indicated by Doan Tucker, this country is very fortunate to have citizens like Doan Tucker. As a Vietnam veteran, I'm saying it was an honor to fight for these people. They've spent the last 50 years proving it. Doan Tucker, thank you for the things you're doing up there in New Jersey. And thank you for the advice you gave to us all that we should all remember, and that is, it is amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit. Remember that advice, and it'll pay big dividends for you. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. This is Mac Payne closing out episode 1784 of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. Thank you for listening. You are welcome to come again soon and often to listen to more that will be coming your way on this podcast. And don't forget, if you're a Vietnam veteran, please take advantage of the opportunity to receive a tremendous legacy staff from the guys out there at the Brazos Walking Stick Company in Waco, Texas. It's a wonderful thing. Again, thanks for listening. This is Mac Payne with the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast.
How about that? Ain't that a mess?